Good morning, folks. Hopefully everyone had a great Halloween weekend. Hopefully everyone had a good fall so far. This is a pretty special Monday because as I'm recording this right now, there's actually college basketball being played right now. It is Winthrop and Queens, and they had a 7 a.m. Central tip-off. We are so back with college basketball. I love it. It's such a quirky sport. It's one of the few US sports that has this type of chaos where you can have an inaugural game at 8 a.m. local time, where you have schools, you have teams you've never heard of, and you're excited to actually watch those games. Just something about college basketball, it's so freaking special. And I'm just so stoked for the season to start. It is one of my favorite things to do in the middle of winter on just some random Tuesday night in January. Get comfortable, flip on some ranked college basketball, and just enjoy life. One of the best things for winter and spring once our football's all done. So I just want to dive right into it, get into this opening day, because we have some average matchups, to say the least. Most of these games are not ranked today. And you know it's a little wild when you see Minnesota Golden Gophers, no shade, but when they're like a 23-point favorite, you know you're getting some tough basketball to watch. Now, I don't hate betting on those big spreads. I remember last year, actually, I think it was Texas minus 44.5 against Mississippi Valley State, I want to say. That wound up hitting. That kind of random stuff is always enjoyable. But I at least wanted to talk about the marquee game of Monday. And that is Florida, defending champs, current number 3 ranked team, going to Las Vegas to play number 13 Arizona. By far and away the best game of the day here on this Monday. And I just wanted to dive into a little bit about my thoughts on the game itself, the rosters of each team, and maybe how these teams are going to go going forward. So I was really high on Florida early last year. I remember watching them on just, again, those random Tuesday nights, those random games, and thinking, dang, this Florida squad looks really good. They're big, they're fast, they're tough. They dominate inside the glass. They had a bunch of giants on their roster. And lo and behold, they really came into form. They gave us some really memorable March Madness games. I remember watching them survive against Texas Tech in a wild comeback. Comebacks against Auburn in the Final Four. Comebacks against Houston in the championship game. Like, this team has a lot of grit, a lot of fortitude. The coaching, Todd Golden, he's a young guy, but he's got this program looking really sharp. Now, for Florida, they lost a ton of talent. Lost a lot of depth pieces to transfer and graduation, but lost some really big name guys. They lost probably their biggest piece by far and away, Walter Clayton Jr., to the NBA, which makes sense. He was extremely talented, deserved to have a shot at the pros. And then also losing Will Richard, who might not be one of the biggest names, of course, but added such great bench rotation and great depth to the team. Now, lot of depletion, of course. That tends to happen when a college team makes a run like that. You have a lot of veteran players. You have a lot of seniors. You have a lot of players ready to hit the NBA. Understandable. They do have some depth coming in through the transfer portal. They got, probably the biggest one was Boogie Fland coming from Arkansas. Now, he totally overperformed expectations as a top 25 recruit, but season kind of got derailed due to, I want to say it was a thumb surgery. So we really didn't get to see Boogie Fland come into his own. Now, that Arkansas team has some serious depth, and later on we'll talk about some of these predictions for March. But if Boogie Flan can really regain that early form following that thumb surgery, there's a chance that he could be a legit contributor to this Florida team. They got some other guys. I had to look them up a little bit. A.J. Brown from Ohio, Bobcats. Xavier Lee from Princeton. Some good pieces to throw into the rotation. Now, whether Florida can repeat is a different story. The SEC is very stacked right now. And from what I recall, Florida is the current betting favorite to win the SEC. Now, we'll get into more depth about the actual conferences in due time. But I think Florida does have an uphill battle. With a pretty brand new team, a very deep conference, there's a lot of room to slip up early. And that's going to be one of the biggest things. If Florida ends up not keeping pace in the SEC, where are they going to slide? Where are they going to place in March? Because I have no doubt they're going to make the tournament. The coaching's just too good. They still have a lot of talented pieces. They still have, Thomas Haw, I want to say, one of the Aussies. And, dang, I'm blanking on the other Australian guy. But, so Florida they got talent. Don't get me wrong. Alex Condon, that was the Aussie. That's on me. It's been a while since we had March. So Alex Condon, Thomas Haw, young guys who might be able to step up. But will they have enough? We're seeing a lot of movement in college basketball. It's very transient these days. Chemistry still matters. And if you have a lot of turnover on your roster, it's going to be hard to develop that throughout the year. So can they repeat? That's going to be a big question for later on. Because they could be starting behind the 8 ball here, playing Arizona in Las Vegas. Now, Arizona, they come in as the number 13th team. A pretty fair preseason ranking. Now, do they have room to go up? I think they do, honestly. Arizona's coming in with a pretty stacked roster. And similarly, they have a competitive conference in the Big 12. Houston is already that favorite. Texas Tech, BYU, those guys are rounding up a pretty elite top 3, top 4. So if Arizona can actually get ahead right here with a win, it's going to prove very valuable. And they honestly have a fair shot. Playing in Vegas, you're pretty darn close to Arizona, pretty close to Tucson. I have a feeling the majority of the crowd is going to be Arizona fans. Makes sense. They travel well. They're all over the West. You're playing in Vegas. It's going to be a pseudo Arizona home game. The pageantry is going to be massive. The motivation factor to beat the defending champs is going to be there. And Arizona's coming in with a pretty good looking roster. As far as I saw, they have the number 2 recruiting class coming into this college basketball season. That is huge. They have some good talented players coming back as well. Now, losing Caleb Love is a pretty big loss. He was their leading scorer and one of their best producers. But you're coming back with Jaden Bradley, senior year. Dude is going to make for a pretty solid starting front court. He seems like he's poised to make that leap that Caleb Love had early on. So I have a good feeling about Jaden Bradley. Now, it's all going to depend on how things come together, but he can fit those shoes if everything falls into place for him. Also, having that really strong front court, I'm Lithuanian, so I feel bad that I'm probably going to butcher this pronunciation, but Motejus Krivas at center for Arizona. That hurts my Lithuanian heart. My bad. But gonna make for a really strong starting center along with Tobe Awaka. It's been a while since March, guys. Gotta shake off this rust. So that front court feels very strong for Arizona. They could have one of the stronger starting front courts in the country. But then you're coming in with some really, really strong rookies. And in particular, Pete, who is going to be a forward, seems like he's already prepared to crack that starting roster. And we might see him tonight. Pete really make a name for himself early on. He's a traditional power forward. He's built like a linebacker. He's one tough sun gun, and he's a freshman right now. He might be one of the most college-ready bodies of any front court as a freshman. So this youngster, this Pete guy, he could really make a name early on. Now, it's going to be a tough matchup against Florida's interior. You still have massive, massive individuals. It's going to be tough, but he could be a name to watch for this college season. And then Braden Burries has a really good shot to be an elite scorer already too. Gonna be a guard, freshman. I think it does help to slot in with these other veteran players, these other more experienced guys. And under the guidance of Tommy Lloyd, coach of Arizona, they have a shot to grow pretty quick. Now, I did see a little tidbit. Bryce James, another one of the kids of LeBron James, is also a freshman on Arizona. We'll see how it all comes along. I know Bronny was very hyped, but I watched a fair amount of USC basketball, and he wasn't quite the guy on USC. Now, obviously, better situation at Arizona, better coaching, more talent around him. Bryce James actually has a better shot to grow as a college player than I think Bronny did in the past. But this is going to be an awesome game coming in Las Vegas. Number 3, Florida. Number 13, Arizona. I know that I'm going to be watching it. World Series is done, so we finally have something else to do here during the week. I'll have to be flipping back and forth between Monday Night Football and this game, because this one is going to be, I think, a close one. I saw that, at least in the betting world, Florida came in as a 3.5-point favorite. They're now a 2.5-point favorite. I think Arizona keeps this close. I don't think this is going to be a win of multiple scores. I think it's probably going to be within 3 points. Especially, again, it's a quasi-Arizona home game. Florida's lost a ton of talent. The chemistry's not 100% there, as you could imagine. Week 1 in particular. And then Arizona comes in with a pretty stacked up roster. And again, chemistry's going to be something to develop with these freshmen coming in. But I think it's going to be a lot closer than what Vegas originally predicted, being a 3.5-point favorite. I feel like Florida could win this one, but this might be a 1 or 2 point game for either side, to be honest. So this is going to be a fun one. I'm super excited. We are so freaking back, and I'm so looking forward to the college basketball season. So I got to run to work here. I'm going to be watching this game. We'll talk about some of the other games and conferences coming up soon. So if you stuck around, if you watch this, I really appreciate it. Thanks for your time. And let's enjoy this college basketball season. Let's get it.